Welcome, Josh.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, hi. Oh, hi.
I am Rod. This is Josh, and this is Murder Moose.
Welcome to it, mother trucker.
Mother trucker. How you doing, buddy?
Great, man. Just finished my mindfulness class, so I'm feeling very mindfulness.
Mindfulness?
Or mindful.
I like the reverse way better. I'm feeling very mindfulness.
Yeah, I know. No, it's good, man.
It's good.
To not get caught up in your thoughts or dwell on your thoughts, past or future that hasn't happened, be present in the Murder Moose moment is fucking amazing, man. Yeah. Anxiety sucks, by the way. So if anyone has ever had it, just try mindfulness techniques. I don't know, like look it up on YouTube. There's a ton of shit out there, and it's just a cool place to be, man.
Dude, I had one of those days at work yesterday where I was like fucking I was anxiety rolled up into a human being because of just like deadlines and shit like that, and I'm like, this fucking sucks. And it just, whenever it happens like that, I'm just like, I've gotten way better at trying to not react to it, but like, if you don't know how to handle anxiety, it can just be such a disaster. Because I'm a very energetic person, so you put anxiety on top of that, and it's like fucking watching a chicken on nitro, like running around with his head cut off. So it's a very
Well, I also hit my bike today too. I go like very as far away as possible on my bike to find, like, there's so many cool like indie or one-off burger places in Calgary, and they're all super duper far away from me. So it takes me like 2 hours to go and have a burger, but the amount of mindfulness on the way and the way back, it's just great times, man.
That and you're burning off the calories of the burger too.
Well, I don't worry too much about that shit. I want a good fucking burger. Boogies, man. I had a Boog Mac. It's called, like,
that sounds disgusting.
No, because it's called Boogie's Burgers, so it's their rendition of the Big Mac. Yeah, with the Thousand Island, but fresh pickles on it and fresh. Oh fuck, dude, it's so huge and so good. I love my burgers, man.
That's what like Burger King does. They put like that Thousand Island on their stackers, like, because it's basically them like trying to do like McDonald's sauce and shit. But yeah.
Didn't they come out with a third pounder and everyone was like, "That's a ripoff. That's less than a quarter pounder." They're like, "No, you're dumb. Like, it's more, you idiots." So they just got rid of it because no one was buying it because they all assumed that a quarter was more than a third.
People are so stupid. It's amazing. I don't know if you've been seeing it. I've been watching all over Twitter as people have been putting gasoline in bags at gas stations because there's this gas shortage where some like hackers fucked up this gas plant in Texas. I don't know if you heard about this.
Oh my god!
And so
hackers is the best.
Yeah, and so it's all fucked up. But I've seen so many photos of people filling up plastic bags with gasoline, and I'm just like,
you can't do that.
You may be the dumbest motherfucker I've ever like. This is like the person in a horror movie that you go, don't go into that room, and they go into that room, and then they try to,
and they say, "I'll be right back."
Yeah, they try to pet the werewolf, and like, oh, it's a puppy, and then they get their face torn off.
You were speaking of Resident Evil, and the werewolves in that they just look wicked. Yeah, they look. I love when werewolves have the really long fur that like flows like that. Yeah. It's way creepier than any other.
They remind me of the werewolves and the kind of like better looking versions of the ones from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because they're like, it's more like a man in a suit kind of look, right? But it doesn't go crazy like American Werewolf in London or The Howling or even Dog Soldiers, but
it kind of reminded me of the ones from Trick or Treat, but way better as well. Because Trick or Treat had the longer fur, and I just hated the prop ones. They like the
oh god, yeah.
Oh, come on, man, you got to get the mouth right. Yeah, but I still love Trick or Treat,
dude. Resident Evil Village was so much fun, man. I love that game. Resident Evil is one of my passions.
You zoomed through that game,
dude.
Man. You were the fastest person. Like, at one time, my Twitch feed had half the people I followed playing the exact same game at the same time. So I would just go and see, and you were like you were behind my buddy Activator playing it, and then all of a sudden you were ahead of him, and then finished it. I was like, how the hell did you do that?
It was I streamed for 7.5 hours the first day, and then 8 hours basically the second day, and it was like, and it said it took me like 10 and a half, but I loved it. It was so much fun. That if you like Resident Evil, like I think that it's up there as one of the best Resident Evil games for sure. And it was
they spent time for sure on that. The character development was really awesome in that one.
And I keep saying that everyone's all obsessed with the tall vampire lady, the 9'7" tall vampire lady. But man,
she was hot.
Her daughters are way hotter though. Her daughters all look like Elizabeth Olsen running around as a vampire. And I just,
I'm down for that.
They do something with me with that, like with the blood all over their faces. I'm like, oh yes, bite me, bite me. Bite me. It's not like the
not there.
Yeah, not on the dick. Not like what's that movie? What's the Jim Carrey movie? That with the vampires. Oh fuck, Once Bitten or whatever it was called. I've never seen it. But I know like.
Oh, I thought you were talking about teeth.
No,
there's a lot of
dicks
that get bit off by.
I got to the first dick biting off in that movie, and I was like, nope, not for me. Not gonna watch this. It might have been like,
really? You turned it off? It was hilarious.
I think it might just been what the mood I was in when I was like, I was not in the mood for dick eating vaginas, but like, which is
especially the guy that had the piercing in his dick, because that just like adds to the aesthetic of it plopping on the floor, because then you know it's his.
It reminds me of, what was that movie called? There was a Cameron Diaz movie back in the day where that she made after There's Something About Mary, and like one of the characters in the movie was blowing a dude, and like he had his dick pierced, and like it got stuck on her tonsils at the back of her throat or whatever, or her uvulas or whatever the fuck they're kind of. That movie was fucked up. It was funny. I was watching it with my friend Aaron in like high school, and like my dad was sitting there like ironing his clothes, getting ready for work, and he's like, "What the fuck are you two watching?" So yeah, it was
normal shit.
I forget
normal shit.
Yeah, normal shit was probably involved with it too. Yeah, so it was Resident Evil Village was awesome. So if you were on the fence, go play it because it fucking rocks, and it was a really, really good time. And I'm excited to see what they do with it, like the next game. But yeah, and Josh,
but you're gonna have to wait now.
Yeah.
You did the thing that I did with Game of Thrones. I was like, I wasn't into it just because it was too pop culture fucking phenomenon bullshit. And I was like, so like anytime there was a spoiler or anything that happened, I didn't care because I didn't know what the hell was going on. And then I finally gave it a chance, and I was like, okay. And then I started watching it, and all of a sudden I had binged the entire series up to where it was left off in like a week and a half. And I was like, I finally get it. This is awesome. Okay, when's the next season start? And I was like, it just ended last week. What the fuck was I thinking? Like, I gotta wait with everyone else. Like, now you gotta wait forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's my life, dude. I've been playing Resident Evil games when they release forever. I wanted to know, Josh, you gave me a thing, but you played in a retirement bracket fork knife tournament this week, and you said it made you feel old.
Well, it's funny because it made me feel bad at Fortnite is what it did. Because like everyone in there was either around my age or a little younger. So it was a 30+ tournament.
Yeah.
But it was for this guy, Hippie Habitat, and he's like a pro Fortnite player. So like his community is filled with a whole bunch of really, really good players. And he's like, okay, I'm going to cut it in half. And only the boomers get to play together, so it's kind of more fair for the boomers. Yeah. And then it just like really put a magnifying glass on just how much practice I haven't had.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this is terrible. I suck.
Competitive stuff is not my bag most of the time anymore. I don't handle losing very well, and it's just it doesn't make me happy.
Well, I was there for a good time and drinking, but then I started realizing that I was just getting clapped, man.
Yeah.
I was getting fucking shit on hard, and I was like, well, this isn't really that fun.
Yeah.
I'll just drink more.
Yeah, drink more, and then things will seem like more fun than they are because of drinking. And there you go.
I guess.
I mean,
we'll try. We'll try again. I'll keep trying, man.
Yeah.
I just know I'm no good.
I mean, dude, it's neither one of us is competitive Fortnite players, so we're good. It's okay. But
I'm on a PlayStation 4, man.
oh, by the way, I found a PlayStation 5 today. Finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 800.
Are they still like? I don't know. I thought I just went to Walmart and they were just there, but I could be wrong. It could have just been like
you're
accessories.
Yeah,
and shit.
you're probably accessories because like they still don't have chips of them, and you can't find one anywhere, and it is so you have to buy one from GameStop, and they're like, oh, you're here. You have to buy another controller and like 3 games, and fuck you, GameStop, you son of a bitches. Okay, but
How's their stock doing?
I don't know. They're. I mean, the internet.
Is it still the meme?
The new meme is the Dogecoin. The Dogecoin is everywhere. Where it's Dogecoin this and Dogecoin that. I think the GameStop stock is up still, but it's like it wasn't very high when that whole shit show started, right? So I don't think it means very much.
Well, they closed down. Didn't they close it like down? Because they're like, this doesn't make sense. The hedge fund babies are.
They closed it. I think they stopped you like from being able to sell it and like or buy it on like things like Robinhood, that app that like sells you stock for like without taking a cut, which I think are a super low cut compared to other places, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's the time of like the internet revolting against like the billionaires who are like all just like going embracing the chaos of what is the world now, and it's just a shit show. I mean, we live in a world now where we have Elon Musk dressing up as Wario on Saturday Night Live, and so like I don't.
That was fucking rad.
I didn't watch it. I just saw those pictures of like that got turned into a meme so incredibly fast. It's just
of course.
It's just Elon Musk sitting there looking like a fat tub of lard in a Wario suit and it just being, he's a weird man. He's a weird man.
I love him.
Okay, speaking of love, we are going to be talking about a pretty kick-ass movie here that I don't know how it took me this long to watch, but we're watching, we watched One Cut of the Dead, which is a Japanese zombie movie, ? From 2017.
Fuck, I was so confused when the credits started rolling and I looked and there's still time, like a lot of time left. I was like, well, what? Huh? And then it starts to go into the second part and I'm just like, this is amazing! Like on so many levels. I'm a filmmaker. This movie is like a hug to filmmakers and to like families of filmmakers and just the whole. Oh my god, this is. It makes sense why it has 100%.
You want to read the synopsis on IMDb or whatever?
One Cut of the Dead, 2017. I love it. Things go badly for a hack director and film crew shooting a low-budget zombie movie in an abandoned World War II Japanese facility when they are attacked by real zombies. What?
This movie was like Inception in zombie movie form, kind of, right? Like
they do the thing through a straw. I like to say, like when Christopher Nolan does it the best, like in Memento or whatever, when an audience doesn't know what's happening because he's only showing the story or through a straw, so you can't see what's on the other side of the storyline, right? So they chose to show the short film or whatever was being filmed to the audience first, and then everything else after is like the straw approach, and I love it so much. And it worked on like every single level, not just so many. Every level it worked.
You know, it's so funny. I'm watching it, and it is. It's really, we can't really talk about this movie without like jumping in and kind of spoiling it, but
spoiling the shit out of it.
We'll go over. I mean, we'll talk about it for a little bit, like about what, like without diving into it, but like and trying to spoil anything.
I'm so surprised that no one has really done anything. Like you go to the IMDb page and no one even has like pictures on their profiles, and everyone was so awesome in this movie. Like I loved so many characters, like every character, to be honest. Especially the father-daughter relationship, but that's just a bias on me for sure. Well,
the director I loved a lot. The guy wearing the headband might have been my favorite character in the whole movie. The drunken dude, like so many characters that you're just like, oh my god, these guys are awesome. But it's like it's that thing where it's you get this you the movie is really, really like because of the concept, right? Like where it talks about like it's these people making this movie. It's this cool thing of like layers of layers on top of layers of like it's these actors pulling so many layers of acting, and it works really well. And just it the concept is dope, and just sitting there and watching it and seeing what happens, and you're like you talk about it like it you hit credits really early on, and it all makes sense in the long run, but you're like, what the fuck? And they just hit you for these things, and it all pays off.
I love that the lady in the control room that's like kind of in charge of everything and just has the most expressive face. And while it's all going on, she's just on her phone, and like doesn't care.
There's like
so she's so awesome too.
There's shit going on, and she does not give a fuck. And it's also let's be real. Let's talk about. I want a zombie channel in real life. Like it's a zombie channel that all no like
I know.
But so if you like zombies movies and you like comedies, this is it's different. It's real different to anything that I've ever seen. And I don't even know if I've seen it, but this movie might have more in common with that Nosferatu movie than most movies I've ever seen. The one with William Dafoe is playing. Is it William Dafoe was like playing Nosferatu, where they go to make the Nosferatu movie and accidentally actually hire Nosferatu for the movie? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I've seen that.
It came out.
They're making another Nosferatu movie, and I'm really excited about it.
Are they? Yeah, that's cool. That yeah, this movie is real cool though. If you like zombies and you like comedies and you don't mind watching and reading subtitles, this is really, I think it's a super interesting companion piece, especially after we've talked like about Versus and the stuff we've gone into with like the Japanese filmmaking, as we're going into a bunch of that now. But yeah, go watch this. It's on Shudder. We'll keep. I mean, dude, I feel like we're like a walking, talking Shudder advertisement at this point. But like, go watch it, and this is pretty.
Honestly, it has. Whoever's curating the collection over there is like, I need to meet them and high five them like 70 times, because it's the best list out there on any platform right now. I know what is it? I don't know.
It's
There's
like
a few other like horror related like platforms now, but this is Shudder. I don't know. They have the best list. Man.
Yeah, I think that it might have to do with like they're owned by like there's some tie into Amazon and AMC. I don't know who's like owning everything in there and like whatnot, but like you can get like AMC tie like memberships like for their Criterion collection thing or whatever it is, and get it. And I think you could get a Shudder collection or Shudder subscription through Amazon or something like that. It's all their collection is constantly updating. They do way more things than you would think. They're doing series. They have the Nosferatu series, which is it's a really cool book by Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son. That's really dope. They're doing the Creep Show we talked about with Totally Drunk last week is really awesome. I still need to watch the last episode of that, the second season, but they're doing so much cool stuff. They do Joe Bob every Friday night. Shudder is just dope, man.
Nice.
It's really, really dope. So yeah, go watch this movie because it's worth it. I just don't want to
100%.
Yeah.
Like I wish we had more. Well, no, I'm gonna say I hope we watch a lot more Japanese films.
Yeah.
Because I already know South Korea has like some of the best cinematography and like just movies out there.
Yeah.
But Japanese movies are, like I said before, the more campy approach, or like this was hilarious, but it was so grounded in the reality of just like an indie filmmaker.
Yeah.
So this being an indie, but it's done so well as an indie too, is just, this is like a masterpiece, man.
Dude, yeah.
Like so many different levels. This has been, I don't know, because like it really throws you for a loop. This is where the loop goes away and we get into spoiler talk. But like after those credits roll, I'm like, whoa, how and where do they go from here? Because that was awesome.
Yeah.
And like everyone just died, and she looks so badass with that like crucifix.
Yeah.
Like painted on the roof and stuff.
Yeah. So
or not crucifix. The what? Not yeah. Is that
no? It's
I
not a
don't fucking know what I'm
crucifix.
talking
That's
about.
what Jesus on it.
Crucifix.
That is the
Oh, fuck. I don't know.
Satan, the star, whatever the fucking God damn it, the
It's all the same
pentagram.
shit to me.
Pentagram. Yes.
Pentagram.
Yes.
Crucifix, pentagram. They're the same shit.
Guess
To me. I
what the budget of this movie was, Josh?
I can't wait to hear.
$25,000.
Fuck, that's so good.
And it's funny though, like they made I don't know what it equates to. Not like I'm trying to like the box office. It made 31 million worldwide.
What?
Yeah, and 3.12 billion of it was yen was in Japan, which equates to something not a lot. It's like 20 million of it is Japanese or something crazy. Yeah, so we're gonna spoil. So go watch this if you have Shudder and you like zombies and you like filmmaking and indie stuff. Definitely. Yeah, this movie is funny, man. It came out in what we said 2017, right? And has been on. It's one of these movies that I think has gotten so much acclaim since it came out. And it's got.
It says it came out in the U.S. in 2019,
Yeah.
September 2019. So like it must have just like blown up when it came out in 2019.
Yeah.
To make that much money that's crazy for an indie.
Yeah, I mean it's not Paranormal Activity, but it's up there. Like
Well,
that's
I
yeah,
know.
I'm just comparing it
But
to.
they also but you can't even put Paranormal Activity in that same category anymore because before it got released,
Yeah,
it got picked up, and then they spent fucking like $1 million on advertising on it, right? So
Yeah.
it's not a small movie anymore
Yeah.
because if you have enough eyes on it,
Yeah.
it's going to make a shit ton of money. And they had the advertising
Yeah.
and Steven Spielberg or whatever backing it
Yeah.
at that point, right?
Yeah,
And telling them to change the ending and shit.
yeah. They spent like another 100,000 or something, like going back in and adding stuff too. So that was like they took a $20,000 movie and made it really more like $150,000 movie, which is way more than this.
I still love that
Yeah.
movie, and it's a task or I don't know. It's amazing what it did for the found footage type genre in horror and stuff. Those movies scare the shit out of me, but it's just paranormal shit done right like that, and like tension build and not really showing overly too much. It's just that's what gets me every time.
Yeah. So this movie is weird in the concept. It starts off with a zombie movie being filmed, like Josh read the concept in, and you have this director is being like a psychopath, and like he's like yelling at this actress because they've done 40 something cuts of this sequence where the zombie attacks her. And she's not doing it right. She's not like showing enough emotion. So he's like just screaming at her. And so there's a break happens and they're like, he's going off and doing weird shit. Like you don't know what's happening. And the director is like, oh yeah, I'm going to go take this blood up to the roof. And you're like, what? And it's funny because you're sitting there and you're like, oh, okay. Because the makeup artist is like telling him, she tells the couple of actors, she's like, yeah, this is where they were doing these experiments during World War II or something like that. And they're like, what? And because they're in the middle of nowhere, right? Which is kind of funny. I don't know how much in the middle of nowhere there is in Japan, but like I know there's some out there like kind of like isolated stuff.
They say they allude to the fact that they're 2 hours away from a working bathroom because of that guy that has like irritable bowel syndrome. I emailed. I love his whole arc is just to show that he has irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, and
the most humiliating scene ever.
Well,
he's like crying as they're putting his makeup on.
You feel so bad for the makeup artist who's putting it on. Like she's like sitting there doing it, and it's just like, oh my God. It's funny because it seems like it reminded me of Versus, right? Because the Japanese and zombies, they do very like in these lower budget, they do very heavy grays to show like zombies, right? Is like how they kind of show it. And it's interesting because like I think that's not as much like
The
an
American
American
well,
method of it. Yeah, but
that's like Dawn of the Dead zombies, I guess,
yeah,
like original Dawn of
yeah,
the Dead.
yeah, exactly. That was very gray, heavy makeup for the zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so what happens is they go back. They're going back to shooting, and the what is it? The one the something comes. What happens? Something comes in, and they or I don't even remember how they end up like getting attacked by a zombie. Right? Is what ends up.
The first guy loses his arm, and
Yeah.
then the arm comes in, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is like really real. Oh,
Yeah.
it is real." Like, and then he comes in
Yep.
and he's dead.
Yep. They do these. So the other distinctive feature they have of the zombies in this movie is they have these like real bright, like whitish.
I loved
Yeah.
the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're-
That's when you can tell they've fully turned.
Yeah, it's very much like the White Walkers on Game of Thrones or something like that. That's
Yeah,
very
totally.
similar to that. And so yeah, the best part about it is this director is like, oh fuck yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, and he's running around he's like trying to film him, and I love the at one point he's like, this is the last take, motherfucker, and like he's just yelling at him, and it's so hysterical how he's doing it, but like yeah, so it's like this director starts getting excited because it's all like the real zombies, like, oh okay, this bitch will be like
Real emotion.
she'll have real emotion at this point. And so they end up like they're running around, and it's a real unique thing, and they explain it later on, but they have like it's all hand cam, right? It's all done by like one person holding a cam, but the camera person never speaks. And the best part about that is there's a thing that happens on later on. And you're like, oh, that makes it even better. But so the actress, the who's kind of like the main character is the actress who was getting yelled at, right? She
was rad.
Yeah,
I was surprised. She's super pretty too, so I was super surprised that she wasn't in anything else.
My favorite part might have been the Pong lady. Pong! Was it Pong? And Pong. And the makeup lady is like, they're sitting there like in between shots, and like the two main actors are like, hey, what do you have any hobbies? And she's like, well, not hobbies, but I'm working on self-defense. And like she has the guy grab her from behind, and like she pops her arms up in the air and goes Pong, and that's how she gets out of the
Was it Pong or Palm? I think
Palm.
it was Palm. P-O-M.
Yeah, Pom.
Yeah, Pom.
Pom. And it's like they're like, oh my god, that's so impressive. They're like, what the fuck? And
but she does it like 18 times
know.
in the course of the movie.
but
It's so good.
this woman gets so intense, and you realize why later. But like, she gets so intense, and she's like drop kicking motherfuckers at one point. You're like, wow, this like. But yeah, so all this happens, and they're like, oh shit, we got to get out of here. Like the guy comes in his arm, and they run around, and the director's trying to get him to do more stuff, and the one actor like knocks him out with a board or something like that, and they try to escape out to the van, but they don't have the keys.
I loved the blood in this though.
Yeah.
Like, and you eventually see how they're doing the splatter and stuff,
Yeah.
but it was perfect.
Yeah.
And, like a lot of other movies, like this is an indie, so they don't give a shit. It's sprayed right in their eyes and whatever. And like you see in like bigger budget movies, it's just like completely perfect around their eyes. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like that takes me completely out of
Yeah.
this. They looked gnarly covered in blood in this
Yeah.
movie, and I always overly appreciate that.
Well, they do such good jobs of the costume design, because like in this movie, it's like it's really the beginning of the movie is the beginning of the movie what's happening, and you don't realize that at first, because you kind of like you're set in the middle of the situation when it's happening, right? Like it's like it doesn't start at the beginning of it happening. It starts in like when this actress is about to get eaten by the zombie.
Yeah.
And like everyone's already covered in blood, and like everyone like there's already like zombies running around. But with all that, you're running around, and they try to get out, and they don't have the keys, and it ends up kind of turning into this kind of hilarious chase scene where the actress is getting chased by the one of the zombies, which is like one of the crew members. And the zombies are they're faster than like a normal zombie. They kind of like run a little bit, right? But not like, they never catch anyone very well though, right? Because like the guy who gets his arm the guy who gets his arm eaten is like sitting there, and he turns around and the zombie's just kind of like, and another thing you figure out later on why that happened. But and it's entertaining because it's the same thing would happen in real life. Like, you don't know what would happen, right? Like why it's happening or what's happening, and these guys are just like, it kind of turns into like
It was so smart throwing the audience in where we got thrown in, though.
Yeah.
Like seeing it as the full short film and then the rest unveiling from there.
Yeah.
That's why this movie is fucking fantastic.
Well, it's so good because it's sitting there and all of this plays out. It goes in and you figure out the director made this ritual happen, and they basically brought the zombies back to life. That's why it's happening. And goes to the end, and there's one survivor, the main actress.
He is all about the art.
Yeah.
He is all about the art.
Yeah, he's all about it. And the actress finds the pentagram in blood that's how it happened up on the roof, and it cuts the credits like you're talking about, and you're literally like 30 something minutes in, and you're like, what, huh?
Wait, is this a short film with like a lot of black space at the end of it? Like, I don't know what's going on.
And you sit there and you like pause it, and you're like 30 minutes in out of like a 90-minute movie, and you're like, what the fuck?
Again, perfect length.
Yep, exactly. And you cut back to like, it goes back to a month ago, and you figure out what's actually happening is there's a director who's actually the director later on gets approached by these people who are making a zombie channel on like cable.
It's like a live feed channel or something.
Yeah.
So it's like things get piped in or something.
So
like everyone that's watching it's like a live feed of this. So they were filming it like actually live.
Yeah.
The whole event.
So the camera.
So I wonder how they do that with other things.
I think
it seemed like a big Jurassic Park style like production, like the big control room for live stuff, and like all the executives were there and stuff.
The idea I got from it was they were making a zombie channel that was going to be playing a lot of zombie movies, and to kind of get attention to the channel, they wanted to do this live broadcast of the zombie movie, and which is a really cool idea. But like, it's funny, like this director gets approached by it, and he's like laughing at him. He's like, "You want to do?"
That's such a fucking crazy idea.
Yeah,
like,
no, we really want to do this, and he's like,
What? But it's such a good idea though too.
Yeah.
Like to push the envelope like crazy.
Yeah,
for sure.
But you see why it's such a crazy idea, because all the things that go wrong, when they show you the short, you don't know anything went wrong. But then you go back and you're watching from like the other, the non like broadcasting camera, and you're like, holy shit! Like it
was a masterpiece when it showed behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But then it also in the credits, it went one step further and inceptionized again and showed behind the scenes of behind the scenes, but behind the scenes. I was that's why this movie's great.
That's why I said Inception. And literally, when I was finished watching it, I sent Josh a message on Discord. I was like, Josh, you're gonna love this fucking movie, and I was right.
But at the credit part, I was like, do I love this movie? Like, that was cool and all. But then the credits are going, and I was like, did I love this movie? Like, that was all right.
Yeah.
And then I see more, and I'm like, oh my God, every single piece is amazing now because it all fits together.
It's not really a zombie movie. It is really a movie about indie filmmaking. It's like, it's what it is.
And that's why I love it so
I know.
much.
I was like, this combines zombies, which Josh likes, and this like dedication and look behind the scenes of filmmaking. And I'm like, this is so up Josh's alley. And I really enjoyed it too. So but it's that thing where it's like showing you what filmmaking can be and what it is for lower budget. And again,
it's a love letter.
Yeah.
It's a love letter for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, fuck, we talked about Versus a couple weeks ago, and Versus is the same kind of thing where it's like it just another movie you show with a really low budget what you can do if you just love making movies. And this is like
100%.
The same kind of thing. And the
I guess Japanese filmmakers But they're out, like we were saying before, they're out of the Hollywood or the LA or just America has money and a system that is just like built for filmmaking. And like if you're in that, it's a whole nother level. Canada is obviously not in America either. So it's the budget constraints and stuff like that. But Japan's way far out there, and they have their own like. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into more Japanese films, man.
Well, dude, I've already been thinking about things to do next because I think I'm gonna pick Japanese movies for a while here. But so this director they come to him and he's fine, and it's funny. What is his motto? It's like, fast.
Do it fast and cheap.
Fast, cheap, and average or whatever is like.
Yeah, average.
Yeah, it's like
he's the average Joe filmmaker.
Well, because it's this funny running theme in the movie about how they use eye drops for tears, and like it's like when they like right after that first thing they're like shooting this movie on the rooftop, and he's got some old dude like trying to cry in a wheelchair, and they're using these things, and
that's a drunk guy.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my God. But you meet him and you meet his wife, who is a retired actress, and you're like, retired because she ends up being the Palm lady later on. Palm and the daughter, and his daughter is about to go to college, I think is what they talk about, but she just wants to be a director like her dad, and that's probably one of the coolest parts of this movie because it's like she kind of ends up being the savior of this whole thing because she's
like, get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Just move this around and move that.
Yeah.
Write this on a card. I got the control board. And just like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it because passion just like overcame all obstacles.
It was funny because my wife came into the room at the scene with the axe in the head of the lady, the Palm lady, and she's like, why is this bitch screaming so much? And it's a weird scene when you watch it, and then it goes back and explains it later on. You're like, oh, that's fucking brilliant. But like when you're watching it, you're like, this is a little weird.
So long.
Yeah, this is a little weird. Why is this going on like this? And it just works when you realize it's so funny because it's one of those things where the zombie part of the movie is cool, like you said, but you're like, what's so special about this movie? And then you realize
it's because of everything else that happens after. That's wrapped in a nice package and a nice bow on top, and
it's just, I mean, it's something that you sit there and you go, what would happen if you were really trying to do this? You were really trying to go in the middle of nowhere and shoot a live broadcast movie for a half an hour and just in one take, because this is live. And so one take. That's why the movie's called One Cut of the Dead, which is funny because the movie's called One Cut of the Dead inside of the One Cut of the Dead movie. Which is another cool thing. So the daughter, you meet the daughter who's like helping on the set of a commercial or something like that, but she's yelling at a little girl because she wants her to not use the eye drops to make tears because the daughter's like all passionate about this, and they fire her, and like because she's kind of like, they're like, the dad shows up at the shoot, and he walks away with his daughter, and he's like, yeah, kind of your passion doesn't fit in this project or something like that. They're like, just get like, yeah, you're a little too enthusiastic for this whole like, occurrence of whatever's happening. So you meet the bunch of these characters, and it's funny because the daughter is also in love with the main zombie guy who's in the movie.
Yeah, like that's her like main crush in life is this guy. And the dad, I don't think went out of his way, but definitely put it on the table. We should probably try and get him in this.
Yeah.
It's just so, because I felt like there was a struggle between the daughter and father character. Like she's going away and she's hard to control and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he's looking back at a picture of her on his shoulders holding the camera and like he's crying and stuff, and he's like, oh, I just want that. And like the whole like bookend of that at the end of the movie is just like, oh, and that's like the warm hug you get where again, she's on his shoulders and like the triumph and all that.
Yeah.
And I felt like this was his like first attempt at like getting back on her good graces.
Yeah.
Look who we got in the movie, right?
Well, it's that whole struggle of this movie where it's like this daughter's young and passionate and has like the whole world of filmmaking and is just passionate, and that her father's just this kind of broken down dude who just does the hack who does whatever he does just to get by and isn't doing
the floor mat.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I can stay in budget. I'm sorry. I'll bow to you.
Yeah.
I'll bow lower.
Yeah.
I'll bow lower.
Well, yeah, and it comes up later, and he kind of finally like gets his balls, but a little bit like where he fights back at some point later on. But
no, that's a bad idea. Oh no, I caught myself. Oh crap, I didn't mean to do that.
It's that thing where like I think as like Westerners we view as like, you know, Japanese pride, like kind of thing. Like it's like what we assume. Like it's that. I think a lot of us don't understand like the Japanese culture. I mean, it's not our culture, right? But like we don't understand it nearly as well as we could. And the guy, that's what we like. What is it called? That when you commit suicide with like cutting your stomach open kind of thing. It's like if you've messed up your pride or whatever, it's a big issue, right? But yeah, so a lot of the next part of this movie is just them like setting up everything and like doing script readings, and it's like the daughter and the wife like read the script like a billion times.
100 times.
Yeah, like that's what happens with the wife, and it goes along and it's funny, but it like gets to the point where they're actually gonna go do this, and they get to the day where they're gonna do it, and like everything basically hits the fan. Like the guy who plays the director and the makeup lady, they both like they're
a no-show the day of.
They're fucking, and they were riding together, and they're like they got in a car accident, and so they couldn't get to this event, and they're sitting, and my wife just got home, which she wasn't supposed to, but she's here, and like the dogs are losing their shit, but mom's home. Yeah, mom's home. Ah! And we're screaming, yell, and bark. And
that's what my dog does too. Yeah,
and they sit there and they're like, "Oh shit, what are we gonna do?" And so this is when the daughter suggests that her mom plays the part of the mate, and like the director ends up playing the director. It's like, no, you can't do that.
I love that, though. It's so meta. It works on so many different levels. And seeing it, no one else could have played that part but him because of the passion he has as an indie filmmaker. And they all know this project more than anyone. It worked on so many different levels as well.
Also, you also see him finally getting to like say all this shit that you know he wanted to say. That like he goes way hardcore in this actress in this thing as his part, because he's like letting out. I think he's just letting out steam of having these actors walk all over him.
He goes off script instantly.
Yeah. He like makes it like way more hardcore, and they're like, oh, whatever, he's doing it. And then
he hits the pop star guy.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, he's like smacking people and shit, and he's like, oh man, this dude this dude has wanted to fucking yell at people forever, and he's finally like, you know, broken through.
He's finally playing the part of his life.
Yeah, he's finally doing everything he wants to do to yell at people and tell them to shut the fuck up. And so he gets his part, and his wife gets who used to be an actress, you find out, but like she
loses herself in parts.
It's
to a fault.
It's like Tom
and has broken other people's arms on set before.
It's like Jared Leto, but like she actually hurts people. Like she broke someone's arm. That's why she retired. Yeah, like you said. And you're sitting there, and you're like
taking a little too over the top.
And you see it later on because like she starts drop kicking motherfuckers. You're like, oh, and you're like, oh shit.
Her husband.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
She
I'm the director.
Yeah, she throws him over. She literally like does a jump kick on someone at one point. And she's like, wow, this bitch ain't messing around. And it's funny because she's really hitting people, and you're like, oh shit. And then you're also figuring out, so you know earlier on in the thing, the guy who's supposed to play the first zombie is a raging alcoholic. And he's like drinking earlier, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be good. And then they're in the middle of nowhere, so it's good. But someone at the production company decides that sending him a bottle of sake to celebrate was a good idea, and this guy tracks it down and gets fucking obliterated. Like, he's drunk as shit. And
passed out in the bushes.
Yeah. And you're sitting there.
The first zombie that's supposed to do stuff.
Yeah. And they're like, there kept being these weird, awkward pauses in the movie. And they're like, there's so much just like, not freelancing, but like, improvising. Yeah. And they're just sitting there and doing stuff because of him and because of the toilet guy that you talked about earlier, who he
emailed, man. Yeah, he emailed several times. Yeah. I love how he keeps bringing that up. I emailed.
Yeah. Well, because he knows, man, and it's like, what does he say?
Is this hard water? I can only drink soft water.
Yeah, he's like, I can't drink too much of it either, right? Like, he's like, I can't drink too much. This guy has the most sensitive stomach in the world. Yeah. So the guy who gets drunk is supposed to be the first zombie, and so like, the director's like, oh, fuck. And he like basically uses this dude as like a human puppet. Like, he gets behind him and is like moving him.
Like that movie, what is that movie?
Weekend at Bernie's kind of mate.
Yeah, he Weekend at Bernie's him as a zombie for the entire movie.
Yeah. Well, this guy can't move. He's fucking obliterated. The guy is such
He comes to at one point, he's like, oh, is it started? He's like, dude, it's like fucking over.
Yeah. Well, dude, that two things with that is, there are they're using like real violence on each other during this movie to make things work because they're so desperate. Like, the fucking husband, the director, like puts his wife in a sleeper hold, like knocks her really unconscious because this bitch is so into it. She's like swinging an axe
has
around.
A real axe. Yeah.
She's
real axe,
swinging,
trying to kill that pop star dude because her character is going to do it in the movie. Yeah. So she's actually going to do it. So things got fucking real. Yeah. Real fast.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. And then, so you're sitting there and this director's moving this guy around, and then like they're moving like back in the pop star dude is like smacking the director with a wooden board, and they're running around and like they're like just going nuts. And this is where
I love that scene. Oh, no, sorry.
No, go. You're good, man.
I was just going to say the best scene in the movie is where that like camera assistant is like running to make sure the cameraman has like another battery or something and like smashes her face. She's going so hard to like help assist him. Like, that's how insane the behind the scenes was of this like short film, and that's what you just have to respect it on so many different levels. And that just face smash.
So one of my favorite like aspects of this whole thing and the character relations is that the guy who's like running the real camera during this whole thing, like, who I get from what was happening wasn't really supposed to be acknowledged during it. Like, it's not supposed to be part of it, but they kind of end up having to be. Like, he's got this assistant who wants to film, right? And he's like, she's like, I know the script, and he's like, no, and he just keeps telling her no. But like, they're doing the scene where the zombie's chasing the actress away, and the guy gets down on the ground and his back goes out on him, and he's sitting there, he's like
she has to take over.
He's like this. He's like he's like just on the ground with his face. And I'm sitting there and like, if you've ever had back pain, you're like, oh man, I know.
Robaxacet.
Yeah. You're like, oh man, I feel bad for this motherfucker. And the girl takes it and like, she had been wanting to do this weird camera zoom thing. And they're like, she does it, and the old lady at the thing is like, that you were talking about, is like, oh, that's creative. Like, she's like, gets all
but then the daughter's like, oh, it's so cheesy, it's amazing. Right.
And it's, oh man, it's so like, so then it's this little girl is running around, and they all end up going up to the roof, and this is kind of where like the shit really starts to hit the fan, because like the crazy lady is just losing her goddamn mind. She's like drop kicking people. She won't stop swinging the real axe at the pop star guy. And so like they knock her unconscious. The husband puts his wife in a sleep hold. That guy is sleeping on the couch for the rest.
But he also gets palmed like 3 times before it's successful. There had to be 3 of them on her so her palm wouldn't work.
Yeah. So because me and Josh are kind of doing it as we're sitting here, she basically takes her arms to her side and like throws them up like superstar, kind of like straight up in the air, like a field goal, like as like a ref making a field
superstar. exactly like Superstar.
And she's like, they're fighting the zombie guy who's chasing them, and the best part is the female actress finds something on her ankle, and she's doesn't know if she got bit by a zombie. And so that's what's happening is this makeup lady is trying to kill her because she thinks she's going to turn into a zombie. And the best part about it is that they went meta inside the meta because they went, this is a movie prop for the movie they're shooting inside of the movie, right? And so it was like, that layers of, and she forgot it was there, and like that's why this woman is trying to kill her, because the meta movie makeup inside the movie, and it's like, oh god, that's brilliant. And
like so many different levels of brilliance, and thinking on your feet as well, and changing the script as it goes along, and like
that's another one of the favorite scenes in the movie, where it's like where there's a scene where the actress is like hiding in this like shack, and they like a zombie pops up, and but you only see his legs. And
that was one of the best shot scenes in the movie. Like her face, just covering her mouth, looked so good. She's just like trying to stay quiet, but she's also getting notes on like a whiteboard to like, this is what we're doing next. And it's like, whoa, they're like, this is so cool.
Yeah, they told her to pick up axe, and you see later on when they're showing through like the real camera angle, it's like they only did like his like thigh is painted up like a zombie, but it's so effective because that's all they needed. And at some point,
I loved all the makeup people in this movie. They're just carrying around a little bucket full of blood and like a piece of a hose, and they're just spitting blood on everyone, and it's so effective. And then like a little paintbrush, and they're painting on like the limbs and stuff, just dumping a little bit of blood and running out of the way. It was so fun to watch, man.
It's when they're like, you see how they're doing these effects where they're like decapitating zombies in like, what is this, like live action, where they have to do it like they would like take a mannequin body and like chuck it in, and then like put blood on the floor and run.
Some blood on it and then run.
And it's amazing how, because they obviously did this.
It looked awesome too.
It's so well done. Like, and I really would like to know how much of this, the half an hour of the movie, like that ends up being like an hour, because you see it twice, right, from the two perspective. It's the movie's bookended by the movie, which is a weird thing to say, but and you go, that sounds weird, but it's really cool and effective, because you're seeing all this shit go wrong. Like the IBS guy, like when he's supposed to come in as a zombie, he goes, it's coming out of me, and they're like, what? The poop. And he's like sitting there shitting on the he's shitting on the side of the building, and they're like, the makeup artist is sitting there while he's shitting and like making him look like a zombie, and it's just like, oh my fucking god, I fucking love this.
The show must go on, man. The show must go
and that's
on.
what they do.
They almost pulled the plug twice, and that's when we were talking about the daughter character. She's like behind the scenes in the like control room, and they put up some weird slide of like a goat or something.
It was
just to like,
it was like when you go to like, you would like it, they would cut to it so that they would know that the feed was fucked up, or there was like the in case of emergency kind of thing.
Thing. So they were just about to like full on cut it, and she's like, no, and then took control and everything, and that. Oh,
and because she knew the script as well as the director and her mom. Like, she knew it as both as
well. She wants to be a director, so she was directing behind the scenes, and without her, it would have fallen apart, right? So
she was the savior of it, and it's funny, and it was that. I think a lot of this is showing what,
and she gets the hero shot at the end on top of her.
Well, dude, that's It's showing what passion means, man. It's just showing that like how it's so much easier to have passion when you're younger, when the world hasn't kicked the shit out of you, right? And that's it's so impressive, because it feels that like, as like, I feel like as a, I mean, I'm not old, but I mean, you and I are both in our mid-30s now, and it's like, so you kind of have that idea of like
more cynical about shit,
and
like situations, and the more adversity you've had in life, the harder it is to just be like, well, I know that's going to be hard, so we got to take these hurdles, and you already know a lot of the hurdles that are going to be in front of you. So saying no or being just more
Oh yeah,
cynical.
she hasn't been broken down by the studios telling it turned into the hack that her father is, and I still think that one of my other favorite shots in this whole movie was when like the makeup artist is trying to kill the actress, and the husband chokes her out, and they're sitting there, and like, and then the pop star gets decapitated, and then the wife, aka the makeup artist, just sits up like randomly because she's come back conscious after her husband, and you're like,
I love that.
Yeah, you're like,
what was that?
You're like, they had hit in the movie. They had hit her in the head with an axe. So it's even like she does that because they show it. That's the brilliance of this movie, is like they show all the shit happening the first time, and you're like, why the fuck did that happen? Because you don't know yet, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh shit, she got up. She's like she'd taken an axe to her head and like wasn't dead yet, but almost dead or something, you know.
I just love that when the first zombie comes in, backtracking, and he pukes on them and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, and then it gets on the camera, and I was like, well, if this is one cut, and they're not going to allude to the fact that the cameraman is a cameraman, is that spit going to be on the camera the entire short film or the entire movie?
Yeah.
And it was for a long ass time, and then blood sprays up onto it, and then you see him actually clean it, and I was like, okay, I'm glad that happened in that. But then you learn further down the road that they didn't want any actual spit on them or blah blah. And then like
not all of them. It was
like
the chick did the actress. The pop. She's like a pop star, and like so the other guy isn't like
right off the bat she gets real puked on.
And it's like
it just makes it so much more like metal and gnarly.
Because the guy has been like, I think he just chucked up a bunch of like sake on her, right? Is like what I gathered from it, because he had been so fucked up. I mean all the shit the director does especially is like, I love he's just swearing and yelling at all these other characters because he's like freeballing it. He's just going and improvising everything, and it's just I love his character. I love the actress does such a good job, and it's so impressive because like when the first time they go up on the roof where the makeup / wife lady is trying to kill her, they fuck up and they hit the crane. And they knocked the crane off the roof of the building that they were going to use for this final shot. And they're like, oh shit, where are we going to do this final shot? And it's funny because that final shot is so like, it feels so real, and you're not quite sure why it feels as real as it does. And then at the end of the movie, when you see how it happened, the actress just chops the shit out of it's the director. She gets, right?
Yeah.
She like,
because he comes up and he's like, yes, this is what I've wanted the entire time. And I just love like in between moments where he comes out of nowhere and he just yells action again. It's so it just worked because that's all he had to say to showcase how just fucking crazy he was.
Well, I mean, he's so they have him set off as this guy who will do anything to make a movie, including literally summoning real zombies to like, you know, to like make a zombie movie, which is
so good.
If zombies were real, there would be people in Hollywood who would actually do this, by the way. I'm thoroughly
100%.
Yeah. And so she attacks him, and then you get what you didn't see at the first time, you see the end shot where like you're looking down on this actress and she's in this pentagram of blood, and it's a cool shot. But like you're sitting there as it's happening, and you like,
because she looked so good, man.
Yeah.
Like she was full head to toe covered in blood and looked more gnarly than most people covered in blood.
Well, dude, it's when you hit somebody with an axe, like she was attacking this director with an axe, you're getting, especially if you're hitting like, you know, arteries, veins, and all that shit, you're getting blood sprayed all over it. And she's got a kind of like, you were talking about like how it's not in the eyes. She's got like a face, like a war mask on, basically. It's like you know, like
so good.
It reminded me of kind of like what the like Native Americans would do, like, you know, put that red like line across their face. And she's just completely, but her outfit's covered in blood because it's been covered in blood for most of this because of all the zombie shit. And you figure out later on that like when they go back and they actually did the shot, they basically formed like a human pyramid to get high enough up to shoot down on her, and it's actually probably like the moment where you're gonna go fuck yeah and you cheer because it's like you've seen all the shit these people have done through, and like the drunk dude is on the bottom of the pyramid. God, I said period. I'm a fucking disaster. Pyramid, and what it goes through, and then they do this countdown at the end where they're just like looking down and they're covered in blood in this blood pentagram, and you're like,
it looked so fucking good.
It looks awesome, and it's that shot is so much better when you know how they did it in this context, right? And you're like, yes.
Well, and then the whole like just cherry on top with the like father-daughter moment, and the reliving of the picture where she's holding the camera on top of his shoulders again. That bookends their relationship back to, I always love that stuff.
Yeah.
I always want to have a really awesome relationship with my daughters. And like anytime a movie does that type of thing, it's like we just watched Mitchell's versus Machines on the weekend. That new Netflix animated movie from Sony. Fuck, that's really good, man. But there's all that stuff with the dad and daughter, not having a good relationship and working towards it. I'm like, oh, the tear stuff comes out.
I think that's the one where
my face is leaking.
That's the one where Doug the Pug is in, which I don't know if you know who Doug the Pug is. But Doug the Pug is a famous Instagram pug.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who's like, I think they based the pug off of him in that movie. Like,
that movie is fucking rad, dude.
I need to watch it. It's on the list. I have so many things. I need to watch
I know.
the Injustice or whatever the fuck it's called on Amazon, the cartoon superhero thing. I need to watch that. I need to watch.
Oh yeah.
The other one that's on Netflix now. The one with the dude from Twin Peaks looks like Zeus or some shit, like whatever that's called. There's so much shit coming out right now, and it's funny because that's like all my wife and I do is like when we're watching shit together, we're streaming stuff. Like usually now we're going through.
Well, there's so many different avenues and places, and there's just. But they're all also producing content themselves because everyone has to have their own original stuff because you can't just have nothing but syndicated shows or movies on your platform because that doesn't last forever. But if you make an original piece, then it brings the people in. So it's awesome for creatives and for filmmakers and for everything right now. We're in a world where content is king and everyone needs content. So but it's too much right now as well. It's a lot.
You get behind it. So, and there's stuff like there's a bunch of shit I would like to watch. You just don't have time. Like there's a lot of this stuff.
No, like full series. People are like, "You're not watching this series," and I'm like, "When the fuck would I have time to watch another series?" Like,
there's stuff.
No thanks.
There's a bunch of the shit on Apple TV's stuff that I would like to watch.
It all looks really good too, but there's
the M. Night Shyamalan series I've heard is really good. And stuff.
I wanted to check it out, but it's a series. I don't know. That's like it's almost like anxiety. Like to think about. Oh, I'm not just gonna watch one. That's like a whole bunch of movies that I have to watch because they're all over an hour long now.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, basically, it's there's a lot, man, but there's also so many avenues, and like Shudder having One Cut of the Dead is like a perfect example of just all these different avenues of getting content and getting a hold of it means that content that probably if we were just watching cable television, this would never be anywhere, right? And having it on a streaming platform that focuses on horror is so cool because that's what I really love about Shudder too. They'll put anything as like horror related because this really is a comedy movie with horror elements more than anything, right?
Yeah.
And I laughed a bunch of times, and it just shows you like the guy shitting himself was probably the part that made me laugh the most. But like, there's so much shit that you're just like contextually, and it just like. The human condition is universal, right? Even if you don't know exactly with you don't understand everything, but like because of like
all the characters you've almost like, well, not almost, but like they're relatable in like any kind of like humanity situation. Like I've met people like that in different situations type thing, right?
Well, yeah, like look at the drunk guy. He does this speech earlier in the movie where how like he's like, yeah, like booze is like my daughter almost like I've almost lost my connection with my daughter because of booze. Like I was supposed to meet her, I drank too much and passed out, and she's pissed. And then like so you're like you're like, oh, this guy, he's gonna like turn it around like in the movies, but more like it, I find like it more likely like in real life, this guy ends up fucking up again with booze because it's an addiction. This guy's got a problem, but it's like you don't like it fucks a lot up, but they use it as an obstacle, and that's the kind of stuff. It's like these characters feel like they're relatable. They might be turned up to 11 on the like the intensity dial,
for sure.
Yeah, but like it's all done so well, and it's just everything about it is just. It's a cool movie, man. If you like this, like, especially if you like looking into filmmaking, right? Like, it almost feels like a documentary, kind of, right? Like that's kind of what it feels. This, like, especially the middle part, but like or actually the last 2/3, because the last 2/3 is the behind the scenes shooting of it and all the preparation. And man, it's cool, man. I was really stoked that you liked it a lot because I was like this. It's funny, man. This movie is like the first time you watch it, it's weird, like because the flow is very unique, and so you're not expecting. The movie.
Well, because it's meant to be clunky, and then you realize why it was clunky. So as you're watching the first time through, this short film is at the front of the movie, and it is clunky because of all these reasons that you learn after the fact. So when I went and saw your message again, and you're gonna love this movie, and the credits were rolling, and I was like, that was clunky. It was really like still entertaining, but what the hell? And then it gets into the rest, and I'm like, oh, and you fall in love if you love movies like we do.
Yeah, dude, it was so entertaining, and this like. The Metascore for this movie, I'm just looking at it, is 86% on Metacritic. I don't know about Rotten Tomatoes. Like on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Like, so this movie is like, it's been pretty universally like loved, right? It is something that you go again, which is I think has a lot to do with it's a comedy that has horror aspects, right? It's
100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's crazy, man. It's because critics don't like horror, right? So like it's very rare for like critics to like really dive into horror, and even something that.
But critics love movies about making movies.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because they just had that movie about the guy who directed Rosebud. What the fuck is it called? Not Casablanca. Is it not Casablanca? Whatever, the greatest movie ever. But the movie with Gary Oldman.
Oh, Mank?
Yeah, Mank. Yeah, came out last year and won a bunch of awards at the Oscars, right? And so, yeah, that's a movie about making a movie, right? So like about like writing scripts and shit like that, kind of, right? But
yeah, totally.
It's funny, the audience score is 87. Like, it's like. I don't. Yeah, that's weird to me. Like, but I don't know how many movies get an audience. People are.
Yeah, but David Fincher makes a movie. It's gonna be pretty much like award worthy.
Yeah.
Like it's David Fincher, man. He doesn't know how to make a bad movie.
Yeah.
Maybe like early on in his career when he didn't have a voice and the studio was like, no, you gotta do this with the aliens. Yeah, like everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say like that was the one movie that he still to this day says like this. Fuck studios for not letting me look at what I've accomplished now. Like just let me do what I do because I'm fucking David Fincher. And I agree with that.
Man, I was super happy. I tweeted out after we I was like, how did I wait this long to see this movie? Because like I think
I'm just happy that I'm part of this show because I feel that way about almost everything that we've watched. It's like if I didn't know you and we weren't doing this show, I would not have seen these movies, and that makes me sad to even think about. So I'm so happy that I'm a part of this show and that this is the movies. Big
you're
hearts, man.
you're one horn of the murder moose, Josh. You're one horn
yeah.
of the murder moose. Okay, man. Go watch this movie. If you,
Ooh!
yeah,
That's the ooh moose sounds. Moose.
They
do it in that Mitchell's versus the.
Oh, do they?
There's a moose reference. Yeah,
Yeah.
we should like use that soundbite.
Oh, dude, I'll have to go track it down. And if I do, I'll do that. What are we doing next week, Josh?
Oh fuck, I don't know.
I mean, there's. You got that.
It's my week.
Yeah, I mean that you have we could decide later on. You have also. I just didn't know if you had any Canadian things in your pipeline that you were interested in.
Oh, probably. If I look at one or two lists, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that one." But I get put on the spot every week, and it's like you think I do my homework.
You know it's coming. You know it's coming. Well, we'll tweet out like when Josh figures it out. He'll figure it out in the next couple of days. I have. Of course. I'm still thinking about what we might do in 2 weeks. Cece from the Screen Queens podcast gave me a couple movies that she was interested in watching, so I might pick one of those and have Cece do or the Japanese one she talked about. I don't know. Well, Josh, thank you for being awesome, my dude. Thank you for enjoying this movie so much. Thank you for being goddamn.
Thank you for enjoying this, dude. It's fucking great. How could you not?
I don't know.
So I dare anyone listening to this at this point. It's at 1 hour 11 minutes in. If you're still here, you're a fucking rock star, anyways. But I challenge you to see this movie and not like it. Because if you don't like it, well, then we're not friends.
Yep. So I'll tweet out when Josh finds out what we're doing.
What about Slasherette Party?
I mean, I like the name of this. Slasherette Party?
I have no clue what... I'm just looking on my list of movies that we can just dive right into on my server here.
Okay, cool.
And there's one called Slasherette Party. I don't know anything about it. Didn't look into it at all. It has a really cool poster, though. Anyone that commissions someone that's going to do a poster that good, let's fucking go.
I mean, I think of the... I see Slasher...
And it's 78 minutes. Dude. You're speaking my language.
I see Slasher Party. Where the fuck is Slasherette Party?
Slasherette Party 2020.
Okay. Man. The name is dope as fuck. So, I mean...
Slasherette Party.
Okay. Oh, there's a dot party? Why is it dot party?
No. That's not... There's no dot.
Oh.
I just... For some reason, there's a dot in there for me.
It doesn't even come up on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that the girl from The Stylist? No. Well, there's just like a whole bunch of really good-looking girls, like half naked on a bed.
I mean,
sign me up. Let's go. They're all covered in blood too. Is this a porn?
I don't know, man. If we talk about
all right, we're doing Slasherette Party.
If we talk about a porno next week, you guys know why. Okay, we are murdermoose.com. We are Murder Moose everywhere. Murder Moose Pod on Twitter. We are our link to our discord.me/murdermoose is our Discord. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you're listening. I'm Rod_Johnston everywhere, including on Twitch, where I stream 3 or 4 days a week. And Josh is Josh WRB everywhere.
Everywhere. And I'm streaming again too. You know, I don't. It's not.
Yeah, you've been hitting. You've been hitting when I was doing my my long ass Resident Evil streams.
What do you mean?
So, the last stream you did was during one of those, I think. So.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for hanging out and thanks for listening. You guys are the fucking real rock stars. And if you guys will come talk to us, I tweeted out from our thing. We more than would love to talk to you guys. So come shoot us a message on Twitter or come to our Discord and say something.
Yeah, if you disagree with what we think, tell us, because then that gives a conversation.
Yeah, and we're idiots, so we're completely okay with this. So, okay, Josh.
100.
I will see
100.
I will see your face next week, and I love you, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.